as we announced earlier, it's been official that the North London Derby will be postponed. So it's something that we all look forward to. I'm sure, unfortunately, that's not going to happen tomorrow. And there's been a lot of postponements in regards to COVID and injuries and availability of players. Do you think that across all the cases that we've seen so far, it's been fair and transparent the way that you understand and see it?
Listen, it's been very, very difficult. I was at Leeds United against Arsenal, and Leeds were desperate to actually get the game off. They had a really good case for it. COVID, injuries, but the league didn't let them do it. Arsenal went on and had a comfortable win. Arsenal now are going to ask on the reverse. We're depleted, we've got no players, we've got COVID, and now they're getting their game off. So there's going to be that understanding. What it comes down to as well is vaccinations. So close contacts, if one team have had a 90% vaccination and the other haven't, then the contacts mean your players have had contact with the other player, so you've got to take the game off. So there's been a real difficult situation for the Premier League, we get that. But what we have seen as well is the FA Cup, every game went ahead. So we've got to be fair, we've got to play on the same field, and it's been a little bit messy.
The fairness is a real tough one, isn't it? Because Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, big squads. Generally, the quality of the squads are better than the rest of them, so therefore they can almost sustain more absentees and still go and play a very, very strong side. They would argue differently, which is understandable because there are certain levels, certain standards, and the games then against the opposition would be a lot closer, a lot more difficult for them. The likes of Leeds losing at the time when they played against Arsenal that day, they had 8 first-team players out, albeit none of them at the time were COVID. So there's an argument to say, well, hang on, we're talking about COVID. COVID is one thing. Together with other injuries, that's a different situation.
They did have a positive.
Maybe they had one, but at the time, they maybe had one player.
But by law, it doesn't really separate if it's injuries or COVID. The law is that if you don't have 13 outfield players and a goalkeeper, then you can't fulfill the fixture. It doesn't define whether it's COVID related or injury related or anything else.
Well, I mean, and that is very, very, very rarely invoked, isn't it? It very rarely ever comes to the fore. It just seems like it's happening every other week in the Premier League these days. Is it a case of clubs really trying to make the most of the current situation? We all know it's such a difficult situation or scenario to be in. So I'm all for, if there's COVID plus the injuries, absolutely get games called off. But I think if it's just injuries related, unless it's really, really extreme,
there's going to be some clubs disappointed with the outcome of some of the postponed fixtures. I think that's the point of it. Hopefully we're nearly away from it. The less the better, and we can continue watching wonderful Premier League games.
Yeah, I think we are a step closer, considering I am here in person with you guys and not on Zoom, so that's always a good thing. It's always a good sign. But